I said Bordeaux to you, what do you think of? I think it's probably the most famous wine region in the world. And it's a region that has a really long history. It dates back over hundreds of years. It's probably synonymous with red wines, and we're talking about some of the world's most expensive red wines. But it's a region that also has great versatility in what it produces. It has lovely whites, beautiful dessert wines, and sparkling wines too. But it's also a region that's facing a little bit of an existential crisis. The old traditional guard are under threat to a certain degree, and at a lower level, there's vast amounts of overproduction. And so it really is looking at itself to work out what the future of Bordeaux looks like. Now, within all of that, there are some brilliant winemakers who are creating a new future for Bordeaux, if you like, and one that I'm feeling very excited about. So I've got some wines to taste with you today, and I can't wait to share what a little bit of a different style of Bordeaux might look like, and hopefully give you some inspiration to try them yourself. First up, I have a wonderful white wine. It is the No Lemon, No Melon by Chateau Picoron. Now, they're actually a very dynamic Australian-led winemaking partnership, and they're really pushing the boundaries as to what Bordeaux is, so much so that they're actually producing wines, some of them outside of the appellation controlle de Bordeaux. So this is a vin de France, so just general wine of France, because it's sitting outside of those somewhat constraining regulations that you might find within the French wine industry. And it's a really exciting wine, not least starting by the colour. It's got this gorgeous, almost sort of coppery tinge, and that gives us a small hint as to what might be inside the glass. This is 100% Merlot. Now, you might be familiar with Merlot as being a red grape variety, but here it's been pressed and that juice has been taken away from the skin straight away, giving us this white wine, and I'm really looking forward to tasting it. It's got this really gorgeous nose. It's a little bit kind of buttery, creamy, a nice tropical note coming through too. Wow, that's gorgeous. Super clean, very refreshing. Definitely that sort of ripe pineapple note there, and a little bit of the citrus as well, which I really like. It's also a little kind of a creamy touch, but very much a kind of a fruit-forward, very uplifting style of wine. I think it's a really interesting example of using a grape variety that is really widely planted in the Bordeaux region in a different way. And they're pushing the boundaries. And I think that innovation is something that is just so exciting to see. And I think it could really help regions like Bordeaux. Next up, we have Le Benjamin. This is named after the winemaker involved in this, and I'm really looking forward to tasting this. This is an organic wine, just simply appellation Bordeaux controlle. Their vines are actually located on the right bank, and this is 100% Merlot. So you might think that Bordeaux is a region of blends, and that is traditionally what Bordeaux is about. So that would be Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot being the kind of the benchmark red grape varieties. But over on the right bank, Merlot leads the field. And this is predominantly Merlot. In fact, it's 95% Merlot with just a little touch of Petit Verdot in there. And I can't wait to taste it. And it's just got this lovely kind of upfront, fruity, fun nose. It's lovely black fruits. And let's go in. And it's that. It's bright. It's juicy. Very mellow tannins. Got a little bit of a crunch to it, but it's all about sort of black cherry, black currant. It's not an overly complex wine. It's a good value wine. And I think it's showing that sort of story about really good, sustainable viticulture as well in the region, which Bordeaux is really pushing hard on. Now, this particular winemaker, Benjamin Hassel, is pioneering in what he's doing in his vineyards. He's really taking on a very broad agroecology approach, which means that the kind of this really living vineyard with vast amounts of flora and fauna and lovely diversity, which really enhances the quality of the wines that you're going to be producing. So I think for £15 a bottle, you're not only getting a really characterful wine, but you're getting what is a truly sustainable wine as well. And I'm looking forward to having a glass of that a bit later on. This wine is the Hegoa. They're from a really interesting producer that I'm very excited by. They were established in 2020, so they're relatively new, but they come from a great experience of winemaking background. It's named after a wind that you find in the Basque Country. In fact, Domaine 80, that's the name of the producer, name all of their wines after winds. But there's certainly no hot air about this. It's 100% Merlot again, so you're seeing that kind of real sort of channeling down into a kind of a single varietal to see what it's capable of. And I think it's interesting to know that even the bottle isn't typical of Bordeaux. They've gone for the burgundy-shaped bottle as opposed to the straight shoulders of Bordeaux. So it really is this kind of redefining and questioning what are those sort of staid and traditional ideas about Bordeaux. Now, they're quite a natural wine producer. So what do I mean by that? So it tends to have a sort of an earthier note to it. They're working with absolute minimal intervention. There's virtually no sulfur added, and all of their fermentations will be from wild yeast. They've aged this in amphora as well, so the lovely large terracotta vessels. And what I'm hoping to find is a really expressive wine. So let's have a taste. Smelling gorgeous. You've got those lovely notes of some black cherry, really nice kind of red fruit coming through too. That's gorgeous. There is that kind of wilder, funkier note to it, but if you kind of approach this with a lovely broad and open mind, if you've never tried that style of wine before, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's got that lovely kind of lift of bright fruit. There's a lovely kind of crunchy cranberry note, gorgeous cherries, strawberries, nice enveloping mouthfeel, but it's not big and over the top by any means. It's got a real freshness and life and a lift about it. So I really think this is a fantastic example of that whole new direction that Bordeaux is travelling with some producers. It's kind of looking at the region. It's not dismissing the kind of the history and tradition, but it's really kind of exploring it in a new and different direction. And that's something I'm very excited about indeed. My final wine, I'm tasting Le Clos de la Molinie. I actually had the pleasure of meeting these winemakers in a wine fair in the Bordeaux region a few months ago, and I was utterly charmed not only by them, but most significantly by their wines. Again, this is 100% Merlot. They're farming within the Entre-deux-Mers, which is a region that is perhaps more famous for white production. Now, they set up their vineyard in 2020 with vines that were dated before that, and they are this really dynamic and energetic couple who are creating wines with a beautiful kind of expression and character, and I'm really excited to be tasting this again today. Again, we're not going with that traditional Bordeaux bottle. We've got the lovely burgundy shape there, and even the labels are looking just that kind of slightly sort of fresher take on what a wine of that region is like. So all of these things just make you feel a little bit more excited about the future of Bordeaux. But let's have a smell. And that's gorgeous. I'm getting lots of kind of dark berried fruits coming through. A lovely almost sort of floral note too. There's this kind of a pretty nose element, rose element on my nose. And this is utterly approachable, beautifully ready to drink now. You've got those sort of raspberry, gorgeous cherries, really nice little floral note as well that I love. That kind of, it's a pretty rose blossom, that sort of note to it. And it's got beautiful smooth tannins, nice generosity to it, but it's not weighty and heavy by any means. It's very fresh, very uplifting. and it's a wine you would just want to share with people. Again, just going with 100% Merlot, it's really focusing on the quality of a grape that can sometimes be a bit maligned, and I'm certainly very excited by this, and I'm going to be watching what this brilliant dynamic wine duo do in the future as well. I've been really excited by everything that I've tasted today. I think it really shows that very dynamic future that Bordeaux can have. So thinking about not just going for the kind of the traditional and the staid, but really being innovative and talented, bright, brilliant winemakers who are pushing the boundaries of what the region's capable of. I think they're very proudly Bordeaux as well in their style that they're producing. So this isn't about just kind of crushing everything that's gone before, but it's about creating a future for one of, if not the world's most important wine region. So with wines like this on the horizon, I think the future could look bright again for Bordeaux. Cheers!